Maybe we should get drunk again.
Do you want a glass of wine?
Let's just drink a Fernet.
Now a Fernet?
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Okay. ¿Tenés Fernet?
Sí, hay Fernet.
But a small one. Small
Sí, pueden ser dos vasitos chicos de Fernet. Sí.
Pizza.
Gracias.
Espera.
Cool.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
All right, it's been already 2 weeks since you're here.
It has been.
How are you feeling so far? How are you like in Argentina? It's funny because when you arrived, we came to this same place.
We did.
And we are now wrapping up after spending 2 weeks together at the same place.
Well, we're not wrapping up yet, but we're wrapping up the conference.
We are wrapping up the conference. We still have some things to.
We still spend more time in this country, but
Yeah.
we're getting to the close of the conference. Yeah, it's been a very interesting 2 weeks. Quite the journey. We went down to Patagonia, spent a week at Edge City, worked with the Ethereum Foundation on the Open Intents framework.
How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was my first time. Well, it was technically my first time in Latin America, really, and then my first time going to Patagonia, which was super cool. Seeing the landscape, seeing, the Alps of South America. The town itself was super cool, very walkable. A lot of cool shops and restaurants for such a small place. A lot of cool people around for the workshops.
Yeah,
Sadly, we didn't get to see so many of them because the work we were doing was quite involved.
Yeah.
It was cool to bring you. What did you think of the whole thing?
I think it was great. I like the experience of a pop-up city and having it in Patagonia, in my own country. Having all of you in Buenos Aires and in San Martin during Edge City, I think it was. I mean, for me as an Argentinian, it's kind of proud to having all of you here and having this conference in Buenos Aires because we love to share. We love to share our culture, our food, our people, and doing those workshops in Patagonia. It's so many talented people with the LI.F. Talking about the future of Interop and how we are shaping that future all together, and working on this framework to make interoperability easier for developers. I think it was great. It was actually really cool to connect with all the people building the Open Intent framework. I'm just sad that we were only two of us there. It would have been great having the rest of the company, but luckily we have them here in Buenos Aires. We're gonna have a good asado tonight for the whole LI.F team. I really enjoy having you in my own city.
Yeah, it was also cool to work with the DeFi Wonderland team.
Yeah,
It was basically a team of Argentinians. So a lot of like overlap between the Open Intents framework and Argentina and their team.
lot of Fernet as
A
well.
lot of Fernet, yeah. We drank like 2 bottles at the after party.
Cheers, man, for that.
Just,
I mean, you're already Argentinian. If you drink Fernet the same way we do, so the thing is that it's interesting because Fernet is like an Italian drink, and they use it as a digestive after every meal. But we are the only ones in the world that have basically mixed that with Coke.
how did that happen?
I don't really know. I think some Italian that came here to this country and tried to mix it with Coke, and it was like the best decision he could get.
It gets into the bloodstream fast.
Yeah.
With the additional sugar in it.
It's interesting because there are only 2 factories of Fernet in the whole world. One, of course, is in Italy, the original one, and the second one is in Argentina. We are the only 2 countries that drink
And you're probably drinking more than them.
than the Italians, definitely.
Yeah, the Italian heritage in this country is definitely it's hard to miss.
Yeah,
It's very prevalent. I feel like the culture, the people, they're very Italian in the way that they like to, spend time in groups, have conversations, but they even have that a little bit more of Latin American flair,
yeah,
and they're even more Italian than the Italians.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. They are even more crazy. They're crazier than Italians itself sometimes. I think it's really interesting how this country was basically built by Italian, Spanish, in the past 200 years ago, some British as well, some Germans came here. We received all of them, and all that cultural mix shaped what Argentina is nowadays. Unfortunately, history in Argentina says that we had a bunch of economical crises.
Yeah.
Many of us had to escape from the country because of the economic situation. I actually lived 5 years in Italy when I was a kid, so I speak Italian. I have all my friends and family still in Italy. Yeah, so I mean, it's a country that needs crypto. You can see it, you can feel it. Crypto is everywhere here. We are all the time trying to. Nowadays, we are doing better, but a few years ago, we were looking for new solutions on how to escape inflation and the volatility of the FX rate. So the way Argentinians got into crypto was first of all by buying stablecoins, swapping their pesos into stablecoins because that's the easier way to escape from this inflationary landscape. And then of course all of them start, or not all of them, but most of them started exploring other cryptocurrencies as well. That's why we also have so many builders in this country. We have very talented people working for many important protocols. Yeah. And for me, it's a pleasure to be working at LI.F I. I was the first Argentinian at LI.F I almost 2 years ago. Nowadays, we are already 4. 2 of them living here, and the other 2 living in Italy and in Germany. So yeah, it's great to have this cultural mix in the company. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think the company has become quite international in the last 2 years specifically. Once we started growing, it's kind of interesting. We have people on, well, basically all continents.
Yeah.
At this point, that we have way more separation of regions. There's teams working all over the world, and they're becoming like progressively more independent of each other, having their own roadmaps, their own targets to go after, their own relationships. It's almost like we don't just have like one company anymore, but there's like many
Squad.
pieces.
Yeah.
Inside the team, and that's been quite interesting to see.
Yeah, I do agree. I think it's also a challenge for us being a remote first company and having so many different cultures. It's kind of a good challenge in terms of management, in terms of cultural mix. But I think we are doing good. I mean, for me, it's super helpful having all these people from different continents, countries, time zones, because when we meet all together at our offsites, at our retreats, and you see them in real life, it's just crazy, because you have been working for the whole year with them remotely, and then you meet up with them in person, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's why having you in my own country during the last 2 weeks was super special for me, because I love to share my culture. I love to share our food, and having 15 or almost 20 people from LI.F I here in Buenos Aires it's a blast.
Yeah, thank you for hosting me. It has been a great experience, man.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. a lot of
work too.
Yeah. apologize to
A lot of drinks.
yeah.
This country seems to always want to make you drink. In that way, it's very much like Italy. Let's have some more steak.
Yeah. So this is entraña dom, which is like the skewered steak. So it's quite soft, good. You already had it before, I believe.
Have it with the chimichurri.
Yeah, chimichurri is like a traditional sauce from here. Of course, you can find chimichurri everywhere.
What is the herbs they put in this?
Depending on the place, it's gonna be different. The crazy thing about chimichurri is that there is a fun fact about this. So, chimichurri was created here in Argentina, or at least this is what I was told, by I think he was a British that came with this sauce like after the First World War, and his name was Jimmy. So Argentinians, it was like a curry, the Jimmy's curry, and Argentinians started like mixing up the name, and it ended up being chimichurri
Okay.
because of Jimmy's curry, you know.
Cheers, brother.
He's really good.
This is some good steak. I don't think I've ever eaten this much steak in my life.
I cannot say the same, sorry.
So how's the week been for you? It was a
Good.
crazy conference.
It was a crazy conference.
Also a lot of responsibility for you.
Yeah, I've been wearing a few hats besides of my role,
Yes.
but I really enjoyed helping everyone with merch, with side events, with useful tips, places to go. I actually wrote like a Notion page for the whole team
Oh yeah.
before you guys arrived to Argentina, because yeah, I wanted to write a few words for you, a few lines to share. I mean, I have traveled a lot, probably not as much as you, and
I wouldn't recommend that.
and I love many countries, but this one is special for me. I mean, it's my home country. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share with all of you. How's the culture over here? What to see, what to eat, and of course, some of you gonna like it, many others will not. But I just wanted to share with all of you why it's so important for me that you are here in this
No, I
country.
mean, this is definitely a special country. You know, it has a lot of things to love. Obviously, as you said, it also has suffered a lot. But so have many great things, you know. Yeah, I think the more I travel, the more I learn that there's so many places in the world, so many different cultures and identities. It's almost like the more you travel, the less you know, in the sense that like the more you understand that you only know such a small part of this crazy massive world with all these different countries and cultures. And obviously we're very privileged to be able to do that, and also how it aligns with our vision of like building crypto, building blockchains to connect all these countries, make them be a little bit more interoperable,
Yeah,
which obviously is kind of like the core thing that we do, and kind of the hopefully this will be, you know, in many ways our legacy to the world, to be able to contribute in a way that it becomes easier for people to connect, to travel, to exchange with each other. I think that's a big part of what we do, and that's why crypto has this crazy conference schedule of like going anywhere that
yeah.
is messy and crazy at times, but it serves a purpose.
I've read a bunch of people on Twitter complaining about traveling for all these events, and they think it's a dumb decision to meet the same people at every single event. But I do believe it's good having these events because you actually connect with the countries, with the people, and you see how needed is crypto in every single country. Probably it's gonna have like different use cases depending on the country. For example, here is gonna be for to escape from inflation to the instability of the country. Some other countries like US or Germany is gonna be more useful in terms of new investment alternatives. And then you have many interesting cases like the one we hear about at Edge City, the Bhutan case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so how blockchain is being adopted in so many countries and how it's shaping like the future of these economies, the future of people as well, because this technology and these decisions basically change the future. The future. Yeah, I think we are doing like our best in this job, trying to help the industry and also trying to help the end users that end up using our products. You know.
Yeah, I think this has definitely been a pivotal year in the sense that we've truly seen like mainstream adoption of financial institutions, banks, as you said, even of governments that are working with, experimenting with this technology. I think for all of us who's been around for a couple of years, I think in the last bear market there was this real fear that this is essentially going to die and go nowhere. And there was a very real option, but I feel like nobody thinks that anymore. Yeah, maybe you can also speak a little bit about like the insights or how you felt about this week. Like,
Yeah, I think the week was really productive. I think it's interesting to see how many US companies, American companies are coming to LATAM aggressively. Have a few friends from the industry working for many important companies that are arriving to Argentina, and they are quite interested not only in offering good products to the people, but also trying to help with the different governments, with the different countries to make crypto easier, having a regulatory framework in these countries. So Argentina is nowadays working in a regulatory sandbox. Brazil is moving forward very aggressively in terms of crypto. Banks are getting in, institutional players. Then you have cases like Mexico, where we have important companies such as Bitso with almost 9 million users. And yeah, the work they are doing for the industry is truly good. I think it's huge, and I think it's they're doing like a great part of this growth in terms of crypto adoption, because having all these players in Argentina, in Mexico, in Brazil give like people a bunch of new alternatives to play around, to explore. Yeah.
yeah, I think those are the key markets, and I think also they're the biggest markets. And I mean, what we've seen is specifically in Brazil, it was for a long time a very speculation-based use case. It's now becoming much more, serious and deeper and more institutional. I think Latin America is wide open in terms of like truly adopting this technology and doing the next steps. I think like one of the key takeaways from this week was also as LI.F.I, moves more towards working with fintechs, talking to institutions, how close the biggest players in those markets are already working with the banks, with the governments, with the US government even directly to shape this regulation. We're seeing the Bank of England and then generally the UK government finally changing their stance. We're even seeing the Indian Supreme Court changing their stance on crypto. I just came back from the Asia tour, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong. All of these jurisdictions seem to think very differently about what we're building now, and then that's quite exciting.
And having all this in mind, since you are now our new head of strategy at LI.F I, what do you think about all this? How this is gonna change your work? What are the challenges you're gonna face as the head of strategy here? Are you excited about the role?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I always saw myself to be strongest in a position where I can, contribute to the big picture. I'm very interested in shaping kind of the direction this company is going in, and different initiatives that we're working on. Working with different teams, working with different squads in the organization, as you said. Working with the product team on like bringing out new products. Working with the business development and marketing team on the strategy for like regionalization and kind of like different products for different regions. And I think it's going to be a challenge. I think we've surpassed the startup scale. We're very close to hitting the 100 mark now. With the open roles and the roles that we're onboarding, we probably have already hit it.
Yeah.
It's just not not everybody's onboarded yet. And so the challenges that we're facing becoming very different, right? The early LI.F I team was very, very good at growth hacking and, being very good at BD, closing clients, coming from a small team out of Berlin, Germany, to this multinational company that we have now. But the challenges are very much changing. Now it becomes about what is the DNA of LI.F I? What's our shared vision? How do we propagate that to an organization of 100 people with, as you said, people from all over the world, different cultures, different languages? And I think there's very little companies that we can look at that are this multinational that we can take on as an example. Obviously, there's a few. There's some great books. As you know, my good old favorite, The Culture Map, needs to be listed there. And part of my job, I think, will be to figure out what's our culture map. Like, how do we grow as an organization? How do we grow our products? And how are we able to be successful in all these different markets? It's very unusual, right? Like, obviously there is corporations that are global in nature, but they're usually much, much larger organizations than us. And most companies, they come from they start in one market in the US or in LATAM or in the EU, and then progressively they start expanding to new markets. And we've just done that very early, and we're still a young company. We're only kind of like 4 years old. So I think there's going to be a lot of learnings and a lot of things where we just kind of have to forge our own path as to like how we make this happen.
I think it's one of our keys, I would say. Having all these people all around the world and being like a multinational company since the beginnings, it's a key for success. Of course, probably when you guys started in Berlin, in Germany, with just a few engineers, it was good having like that small team based in the same country. But nowadays, I believe that we need all these people all over the world to improve, to have like the best solution in the market, because there's a huge mix of components that make that success. And I think one of these is the cultural mix we have. And then it comes along with many other components like having contacts in the right countries, with the right people, for the distribution, having also people from all these different countries that come with their own experience, having implemented like similar solutions or products in their own countries for other companies. It's a great combination, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great strength. But it definitely comes with its challenges on the organizational side, which is like, as I said earlier, defining what is your own DNA. You know, you need to be able to speak a common language
Definitely.
that is a mix amongst all these different cultures. And I think we're still in the process of like figuring out like what exactly that looks like, you know.
I mean, that could be one of your tasks.
I think that will be one of my tasks.
Yeah, being head of strategy.
to work on that. And this is also one of the reasons why I've traveled so much and been to so many countries is I feel like it's imperative for me to understand as many different cultures as I possibly can to be able to make the right decisions and be able to understand where they're coming from. And like really what I learned from doing that is like you don't know anything about a country from, you know, looking at it on like Instagram or on like specifically not on like television or what, you know, the media is telling you about where countries are at. You really have to go there on the ground, speak to the people, and get where they're coming from. So yeah, I think 2026 is going to be a very interesting year for us.
What excites you about 2026?
I think we've finally grown to a level of maturity where all of the pieces that we've been building, the vision is kind of coming together. There's a lot of moving pieces right now. We've been working on a lot of different products for quite some time. We obviously made some acquisitions in the past to, you know, expand our product essentially from like a pure aggregation product into something that's more of a hybrid model where we still aggregate third-party tools, but we also have our internal liquidity solutions and solutions for different things like zaps, intents, swapping. So I think from here, it's going to be very interesting to see how we can leverage the DeFi stack to work with all these fintechs and institutions, because like what we're seeing from all the conversations we've been having with them so far is this is what they need. Like, I mean, you work on the BD team, so I don't have to tell you this, but there very rarely is a client that doesn't have custom requirements. And this obviously it's part of what makes us so successful. It's obviously also part of like what makes it sometimes frustrating from the business development side, because like every deal is special, every deal needs work. This is still a young industry. A lot of the tooling is still developing, and with this new LI.F.I 2.0 vision, with us launching LI.F.I Intents, with us launching Composer, and also Pioneer as our own solver, we finally will be in the position to serve those needs directly to our clients in-house, which is a great advantage for us in terms of just being able to ship things on our own timelines. Because so far, we were often dependent on the timelines of, you know, underlying providers that we're aggregating, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but this allows us to, you know, take it one step further in terms of serving the needs of our clients.
Yeah. Okay, that's useful. That's a great information and good insights for me and for everyone in this industry. But something that I read a few weeks ago, that you have worked closely with Arjun, our head of narrative, I heard something about the DeFi Mullet. Can you tell me a bit more about that? What's this?
Sure.
Because I
So-
think this is gonna be part of the 26 roadmap, isn't it?
Yeah, the DeFi Mullet isn't so much a part of our roadmap as it's more like the DeFi Mullet is the thesis, essentially, that the mainstream adoption of crypto will be driven by layers of distribution. And this isn't a new thesis. This thesis came out in like 2021. It's been around. It's called the DeFi Mullet because it's kind of a joke on the mullet haircut, which is kind of like business in the front, party in the back. So people came up with this theory that essentially fintechs and banks and like payment providers, all of the established players in the market, they're going to leverage their existing distribution and essentially replace their backends with crypto native tooling. And we believe that Li.Fi is in a very, very good position to serve the needs of these clients, because what they're going to be needing is exactly what we just talked about, a modular stack of multiple different tools. We have Zaps, we have bridging, we have swapping, we have our earn products coming up that essentially take our existing tooling and make it compatible with any type of vault infrastructure, any type of lending infrastructure. This is what all the big players are interested in right now. We have built an established and trusted brand. And essentially we think with this new protocol stack, we're in a very, very good position to, be like one of the premier partners that all of these fintechs, all of these banks all around the world work with. And it's a very interesting market because there's lots and lots of different players. Because due to the regulation in the home markets in all these different countries, essentially every single country has their own version of like these kind of like neobanks, fintech, adjacent players. So this is a very, very large global market. At the same time, it's very local as well, because you need to kind of, as you said earlier, build these relationships all over the world in different regions. And yeah, it's an exciting new vertical proposition for us, and a thesis that we're increasingly bullish on.
So we could say that it's basically fintech in the front and Li.Fi in the back.
Exactly.
So every single solution on Li.Fi gonna be powering all these fintech applications.
Yes.
And they're gonna end up switching to crypto native solutions under the hood, aren't they?
And we're already seeing that happening, right? Like Coinbase just allowed their second asset, which is Ethereum, for crypto native lending on the Coinbase centralized exchange, essentially, on the Coinbase application. We're seeing many other players, big players, in different markets following suit. I've spoken to a lot of teams this week that work very closely with banks. The banks are super interested in doing these things, issuing tons and tons of RWAs on chain, and moving them around. They're still mostly inhibited by regulation and need to move slowly. But from what I'm hearing from the people that I've spoken to is that they would actually love to do much more than they're currently doing. And they almost need to be like, the speed needs to be taken out a little bit from the crypto native players, because they want to make sure there's enough liquidity and they have the correct infrastructure to serve these large players.
Makes sense. Okay. From my point of view, I think it's a great analysis of the current landscape. We had a great time here in Buenos Aires, also in Patagonia. How will you end this conversation? What closing topic would you like to, not to choose, but what will be like the, after these 2 weeks in Argentina and seeing how everything is here in terms of crypto adoption, in terms of development, what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is kind of like it stays the same, is that everything's the same, but everything's different, you know? I think we're all humans, we're all fundamentally suffer from the same issues, and, you know, in some countries, the infrastructure makes these issues worse. And I think a lot of like Europeans or Americans, they don't understand that because, you know, they've never had to live or work within this infrastructure. I think every human being around this world deserves the same infrastructure and the ability to, you know, save money, invest, make something of their lives. And I think we've built a technology that will make that possible.
All right, and after spending 2 weeks here in Argentina, what's your highlight? What do you like the most?
I think my highlight was the bus ride we took to the lake for the Edge City after party, like driving kind of through the Patagonian wilderness, like seeing all these crazy houses that people have built there, which I don't know, which is like very shocking to me always, because it's like just reminds me so much of like Switzerland or Austria, but they have this very unique style of building houses. And I'm somebody who loves mountains, so just, you know, it's a little off the grid, but it just seems like, you know, a great place to spend time or spend your winter at. And it's like it's so cool that this country has like this region and all these different regions that are so distinct and have their own culture. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. What about you?
My highlight of the week, I think since the week hasn't ended yet, I think my highlight is gonna be tonight because I'm gonna be making an asado for all of you. We're gonna go now to the butcher, we're gonna buy the meat, and we're gonna have the whole ritual of the asado, which for us is like not only about having dinner together and having a steak, because you can do it at the restaurant. There's more like a ritual of sharing, talking to each other while we still wait for the meat, because it's a long process that it takes to make an asado.
How long will the grilling process take?
So I don't do it in less than 2 hours. Never. I mean, 2 to 3 hours is like the starting point for an asado. Sometimes it could also take like 10 or 12 hours.
Okay.
So it's a whole ritual.
Very long grilling process.
Yeah. In the meantime, you have a fernet, a wine, provoleta, whatever you want. But yeah, it's the meat itself goes to a second place, because the most important thing about the asado ritual of the asado is like sharing with the people that you like, that you want. That's why I like to host you at my home. We're gonna do the asado at my place tonight, and that's part of how we are as Argentinians are. We like to host people, to invite people to our home to have an asado. Actually, I have a friend from ZK Sync, and he hosted an asado every single day at his home the week before DevConnect with different people from different countries, so they could understand how the ritual is. Yeah, I think that's just amazing. Now we're gonna go together to the butcher. We're gonna buy the meat. We're gonna buy some wines, some fernet. And yeah, I just hope you guys enjoyed tonight, and I hope this is my. I'm sure it's gonna be my highlight of the week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Specifically, the more people become, the bigger we get. It becomes harder to spend a lot of time together at the conference as a team, because obviously everybody's really busy. So it's great we get to have this like coming together and just like enjoying and talking. So, you know, or doing some bonding.
Amazing. All right, thank you, Dom. Thanks for the time. I really appreciate the talk. And yeah, bullish on 2026.
Gonna be another great year.
Another busy year.
Another busy year, yeah.